Welcome back into the Enrichment Sports Source. This segment we are going to be looking
at John.
We're going to be looking at Chuck, Bob. We're going to look at the blind resumes for 5 SEC teams hoping to get in the NCAA tournament. We've got 6 of the things that appear on the cheat sheet that the selection committee uses: overall record, RPI ranking, strength of schedule ranking, wins against top 50 teams, true road wins, not neutral site, but true road wins against top 100 teams, and then I call it sub 100, meaning outside the 100 losses, all right, outside the top 100 losses. Now, I have listed these teams left to right by the number of total wins, okay? That's why the RPI is a little different from what you're saying. We didn't list them by RPI. I want to know who deserves a bid from the SEC out of this mix. And keep in mind that usually, I mean, there are only 30-something at-large teams. You usually don't see many teams in the 50s or 60s get at-large bids into the tournament. So let's talk about these resumes a little bit. You look at the first one, 15-4, RPI 55. Strength of schedule is miserable, 115. Then you move down, you see the numbers. Tell me, which of those look like they deserve a bid to you? Any?
There's only one that I think is close, and that would be going left to right. Well, the last one, the 11-7 team, would be close, but then you've got the 2 sub-100 losses. I also thought the 13-6 team with a 71 RPI, that's not bad, 3 top 50 wins, but then you've got 2 sub-100 losses. So I think at best you've got 2 bubble teams up there.
Okay. And the RPI ranking at 71 would suggest they're not even a bubble team. But
exactly. But could play themselves into a bubble team with top 50 wins.
Yeah, I mean, you've already got 3 top 50 wins off that one team. Jimmy, what do you think there?
I wouldn't put any of them in. Would I have a couple of them on the bubble? Yes, and they would have more to do to get in.
Yes.
But the one that's got 15 wins has the worst strength of schedule. The one that has the most losses has the best strength of schedule. So I don't think either one, I don't think any of those teams has done enough to deserve to be in the NCAA tournament right now.
Okay. Chuck?
You know, I almost wonder, like the 13-6 teams with the 3 top 50 wins, did they beat somebody in the top 10? Did they beat one of the top teams in the country? But otherwise, I would have these teams on the bubble on the outside looking in.
So you've got nobody in?
No, not yet.
Okay. I don't have anybody in either. I mean, they're all on the outside looking in.
Your
the closest one is 11-7.
Is that your closest?
Yes.
Because of strength of schedule? So much better than the others.
Right.
And the RPI is also not great, but it's the highest of the others.
Exactly.
Jimmy, is that one the closest for you?
It's the closest, closely followed by the number 1 team, which is 15-4.
Okay, despite the strength of schedule ranking.
Correct.
Okay. Chuck, why don't you walk on over there and I'll tell you who's who.
All righty.
All right. The first one there, the 15-4 team, that is Missouri. All right. Yeah, just get him IZ. There you go. 14-5, that's who Tennessee plays next. That's Ole Miss. Put MISS. Then we got 13-6. That's Arkansas. That's the team Tennessee just beat. 3 top 50 wins, 2 sub-100 losses. Then you
those wins were at home, I would bet you.
Yeah, have to be. Then you got LSU, who dropped one to Alabama yesterday. Not a good loss for LSU. And then you've got finally Tennessee. So even with the worst record there, 11-7, they are closer than anybody else in the SEC right now. And Joe Lunardi actually has them in. I would not. Nobody else here would either. But astoundingly, when you look at those numbers that the selection committee uses, they are still alive, even with an 11-7 record. I don't think it's likely that they'll get in, but they are at least still on life support. There's hope for a miracle.
Well, that strength of schedule goes a long way. I mean, their schedule is so much higher than anybody else's on that list.
And the thing there is we're comparing them only to SEC teams.
Correct.
So they're also going to be up against a lot of others, but that strength of schedule 12, it's going to beat it's going to beat all but 12 teams, all but 11 teams.
Here's the thing that also is going to hurt Tennessee later in the year when I was looking at this. I think this is right. Of their last 7 games, I think 6 of them are against teams with an RPI of 100 or higher.
Yeah.
So even if you beat those teams, the only one the exception, that's Missouri. So everybody else.
Which is last game, yeah.
Right. Even if you run this string of 6 in a row against these teams, you're not helping yourself that much, because they're all 100 or higher on the RPI.
Well, and again, according to the RPI service I looked at, real-time RPI, UT went from 53 to 52 yesterday by losing 26 points at Florida. You play a good team and lose, RPI it's about the same. It takes a small hiccup up. You play a bunch of sub 100 or higher than 100, however you want to say it, teams, the worst outside the 100. Play a bunch of them in a row, it's going to hurt your RPI, it's going to hurt your strength of schedule.
It did it last year for Tennessee too, toward the end of the year when they played the South Carolinas, Georgias, and Mississippi States.
Which basically means we come back to the same point we did last year, and that is don't dig yourself a hole at the first of the season, win those non-conference games, and they didn't. And I don't know, we'll look back at the end of the year. Look, you lost at Xavier. That's not a bad loss now. Okay, I mean, they're in the top 40 RPI. You lose on the road to them, but then you beat them. I think when we go back, throw the NC State blowout out, throw Texas A&M out. That UTEP loss that kept you from playing at least one or two better teams there in the Bahamas, that's the one that you're going to look back on if you don't get in and say, wow, did we blow it right there.
And you had a golden opportunity at Wichita State, too. And that would
no
have been
shame
huge.
in that loss.
Yeah, I know, but that would have been huge if you could have gone there and win.
Yeah.
You'd like to get a marquee win, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, guys, when we come back, it's our scouting report segment. Usually we look at the two games that are coming up this week. Instead, I want to look at Tennessee as a whole. How far are they from being the team we thought they would be before the season, if that makes sense to you? How far away from good are they? And then also, looking at what you're looking at this year, what does that say you might be looking at next year? Come on back on the Enrichment Sports Source.
You are watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television.